very much. Thank you. How are we doing? I'm Paul Cox, and I'm a parent. Yay! I love being a parent. I think there are two things you need to know about being a successful parent. I don't know either of them are. If I had a guess, I'd say the iPad and cow pole. Because that's what's working best for me, I can tell you. I'm a parent to a beautiful 9-year-old girl, and because I am, the nativity play has been a big part of my world. And what I've learned about nativity play, ladies and gentlemen, is that primary school teachers have started to rewrite it. I know this because last year, my daughter played Jesus' Nan. Jesus' Nan, thank you very much. It was unclear which one. Could be one of three, I guess. I've not read the book all the way through. My daughter's actually growing up on a lovely middle-class street, so we don't need to worry about her. But I grew up on a council estate. Now, does everyone know what a council estate is? Are you sure? I barely saw a semi-detached on the way in. I loved growing up on a council estate. I loved growing up on a council estate because there was twice as many kids to play with and only half as many parents to keep an eye on us. But having grown up on a council estate and now living in what some would call a nice middle-class area, I've learned the difference between working and middle-class people. And it's cheese. Oh, trust me, it's cheese. The middle classes love their cheese. Cheese, 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 cheese. If you can milk it, they'll fucking cheese it. Working class have only got two cheese, string and squeezy. I've never seen either of those served for dessert, I can tell you. Give you some idea of the specific area I grew up in. My mate Steve, his auntie was 2 years below us at school. That's not his sister, that's his auntie. Now I stood in front of many an audience who don't think that's particularly weird. But trust me, if you're stood in the playground at 10 years old with your little mate Steve and someone comes running up going, Steve! Steve! Your auntie's taking a piss in the sandpit again! Then it's fucking weird. I mean, it wasn't a particularly good school, as you can imagine. It was a comprehensive, nothing wrong with that. But our music teacher was an alcoholic. We didn't know this at the time, there were a few clues, however. He once sung, with tears in his eyes, to the whole class, The Winner Takes It All by ABBA. The winner takes it all. Well, it was a music lesson, wasn't it? So he got us all involved. Except when we all reached the chorus, he got us to replace the word winner with the name of his ex-wife. So whilst he's choking back the tears, we're all singing, Linda takes it all. I was talking about cheese when I go, baked beans, they're a staple of the working class diet. Baked beans. I don't like baked beans. I really don't like baked beans. And where I come from, that is weird, right? It's like saying I don't like oxygen. I was in a cafe recently, I was ordering my breakfast. I said to the waitress, can I have a full English, please? But could you hold the beans, because I don't like beans? She looked at me as if I'd said, can I have the full English, please? But could you hold my willy and sing me to sleep? Just baked beans. I mean, I actually grew up in Portsmouth.
Hey.
One bloke from prison at the back. I've been all over this country, including Portsmouth, and no one generally thinks I should be proud of that. So thank you very much, mate. Cheers. But I've always got the same story I used to try and change people's minds. Portsmouth is the only place that I've seen someone take a shit in a drawer and then get up and continue to teach the class. I told you he was an alcoholic, didn't I? But they'll say, won't they? They'll say it's your class, it's your background. They'll determine how you will discipline your children. But what they're really trying to say is you're much more likely to hit your kids if you're working class than if you're middle class. No, I don't believe this. I don't believe this at all, in fact. I mean, my dad did hit me, and my dad is working class. But he didn't hit me because he's shit at Latin. He hit me because I told him he's shit at Latin. In Latin. My daughter's got no such fear of me, no such fear of me whatsoever. My wife was trying to feed her a lovely, nutritious meal recently. She pushed it away. She said, I want cake. I want cake. My wife was pulling her hair out. She said, you wait till Dad gets home. My daughter looked up and went, why? Has he got cake? That's middle class kids. But it's not easy, is it? It's not easy to entertain kids. I took my daughter to the zoo recently, to the London Zoo. Has anyone been to the zoo recently? No? It's not really feedback to that question, is it? But thank you. What do we think of the zoo? What? Sound like sheep. I tell you what I thought it was fucking expensive. It was £21 to take my daughter to the zoo. I don't actually think kids enjoy the zoo. The most excited kids I saw at the zoo were a boy and a girl stood by a bin looking at a wasp. And that's £42 to look at a wasp. The most fun I had at the zoo was stood by a bin looking at two kids get stung by a fucking wasp. Now, I went to the zoo with my wife and my daughter, and it was London Zoo, and they had something called London Passes, which basically meant they'd already prepaid and they didn't have to queue to get in. I didn't have one of these. Right? So I had to go in through the main gate. Not a problem. But if you've ever been to London Zoo in particular, you all know as you're going through the main gates, there's a gentleman stood there with a camera in front of a green screen waiting to take your photograph. Right? Which is great fun if you're in a family group. If you're a 38-year-old man on your own, it's fucking weird. I had to give it to him, now he's a professional. He said, hello mate, welcome to London Zoo. What's your name? I said, it's Paul. He said, hello Paul. Paul, give us your best elephant impression. Well, I panicked, didn't I? I don't do impressions. I just started pulling the pockets out of my trousers. And I was undoing my flies. Looking at my wife go, no, Paul. That's why I love being a stand-up comedian. Just tuck my ears back in. I love being a stand-up comedian because I can tell you that true anecdote about me simulating getting my knob out of the zoo and most of you are still on board. Couldn't do that in any other job, could I? Couldn't do that if I was a teacher. But you know what, if you're not allowed in the zoo because one of your parents has got their knob out and the right restrictions have been put in place, I think you can have just as much fun in a graveyard. No, hear me out, next time in a graveyard, I play Find the Oldest Dead Person. I played this with my daughter recently, why wouldn't I? She's 9, it was her birthday. Find the Oldest Dead Person. She went running straight up to a shiny marble headstone. Classic error. There's only one rule to that game. If it's shiny, ignore it. If it's faded, explore it. No, you're right, more of a rhyme. More of a rhyme. But I'm 38 now, I'm 38. I know 38, of course I know 38 is not particularly old, you know, but I do feel like I'm getting a little bit older, right? I definitely feel like I'm losing my sexual attractiveness. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, I'm going to come back to that, actually. I'll tell you what, I'm going to come back to that. I've never had anyone go no at that point, ever. Well, because you know, I'm a busy guy, right? I'm a very busy guy, right? I do this 4 or 5 nights of the week, and because I'm so busy, I'm often forgetting things, right? And just last night, I forgot to take my contact lenses out. So when I woke up this morning, my contact lenses were still in. Has anyone done this? Oh, do you know what though? I spent the first 5 minutes of my day genuinely believing my eyesight had been healed by God. Thank you, Jesus. Not the most embarrassing thing, though. I once spent 20 minutes no less, chasing a daddy longlegs around my bedroom until I realised I had a crack in my fucking glasses. Now, arguably, after all that running about, I should be slightly more athletic, right? But before I start this story, I've actually lost 4.5 stone this year. Oh, thank you very much. It's very hard. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. But, you know, doing this job and standing in front of you beautiful people and you beautiful people look back at me, it does make you think about your body image. And, you know, I used to think about losing weight a lot. I thought about buying myself a Fitbit, but I decided very quickly I don't need a £200 watch to tell me to eat less and move more. I need one that goes around my throat and chokes me when I get 2 bags of donuts. But, you know, I'll tell you what, the thing that hit home was, I was at a gig in central London just before Christmas, right? I was at a gig in central London. There's a beautiful young lady in the second row who just kept singing Simply Red songs at me, by the way. I didn't know why either. And I had a choice at this point, then I could either get her involved or I could ignore her. And trust me, this lady was not to be ignored. So I leant into the second row to pass her the microphone, and in doing so, I ripped my hamstring. I fully ripped my hamstring. Now, have you any idea how fat and unfit you've got to be to pull your hamstring doing stand-up comedy? So I started a diet. And like I say, I'm 38. And I do feel like I'm losing my sexual attractiveness. And unlike that lady, I think, hopefully a lady, I don't know, I don't mind. But my wife doesn't feel that way. I mean, it's got to the point now where if my wife was to find a bra in my car, she would just assume I'd be jogging. And just to be clear, that's a joke about me having moves. That is not a joke about how cool my wife is with me being a serial killer. Which apparently is an easy mistake. I actually met my wife 20 years ago. I started seeing my wife in 1998. I was actually 18 when I met her. And I met her in a nightclub in Portsmouth, and I could tell straight away she might know a thing or two about cheese. She wasn't morbidly obese. She was, as far as I was concerned at that point, posh. She was middle class. Her parents were unequivocally middle class. Their house was absolutely massive. I've never seen anything like it. They had a room just for reading and a conservatory. My parents barely had any room, and they once told me they would never vote conservatory. But my sister got married last year. And she... Not to me. I said Portsmouth, not Southampton. But it was a big day in her world, wasn't it? It was a big day, as you can imagine, largely because she was changing her surname from Cox to Blakey, which is a big day in any woman's world, trust me. And naturally, my dad did the speech. I say naturally, ladies and gentlemen, my dad at his only daughter's wedding stood up and opened his speech with this. He said, "You may take my daughter out of the Cox. But you'll never take the Cox out of my daughter." What a dickhead. My sister had a baby last year, because it's tradition in our family to get married if you're pregnant. And it got me thinking, why do we introduce babies the way that we do? We don't introduce anybody else this way, do we? I've never, for example, walked into a room and said, "Hi, it's my new girlfriend Julie. 9 stone 2 pounds. You can hold her if you like. If she starts crying, chuck her a bottle of Prosecco." But I love my family, of course I do, I really do love my family. And I was saying goodbye to my mum recently, and I leant in to kiss her, to say goodbye, and I accidentally kissed her on the lips. You're right, it's weird, isn't it? It's embarrassing. I didn't want to draw attention to it, so I just carried on. The conversation, not the kissing. But I couldn't hold this silence. I couldn't hold it. I mean, I knew it was an accident, but did my mum know that I knew it was an accident? Because she was starting to look at me pretty weirdly, I can tell you. But before I could say anything, she started ripping the piss out of me. She called me a mother kisser. So now I couldn't look my dad in the eye for weeks. When I was growing up, my dad used to give me all sorts of no good shit advice, the sort of advice I could never use at any point in my life. He once said to me, he said, "Don't get married, mate. If you want a wife, have someone else's." What am I supposed to do with that? I don't suppose for 1 minute he thought it'd be his. I do a lot of travel on this job, largely on the rail network, and the problem with the public transport system is the public use it. I got onto the train recently and accidentally spilled my bottle of water all over the seat next to me, which is a stupid thing to do, I know, but I mopped it up, right? I mopped it up, and I put my bag there to prevent anybody else from sitting down, okay? But along comes Captain Commuter Belt, bounding down the aisle in his slip-on Italian loafers. He picks the bag up, says, his bag got a ticket, mate, and he chucks it at me. Right, he chucks it at me while I'm trying to figure out if this is some form of exotic foreplay. He sits down, he bounces straight back up with a soggy wet arse. So I look up and say, no mate, of course the bag didn't have a ticket, but it was scared of travelling alone, which is why it pissed itself. Not the worst thing that happened on the train, I'll leave you with this, and I have to apologise already. I'll leave you with this. Right, okay, not worst thing that happened. Worst thing to happen to me on a train was when I woke up to a blowjob. I know mate, one in first class. I thought to myself, that is the last time I fall asleep on the train with my mouth open. I dreamt I was choking on a flump. But luckily for me, that was how I met Tommy. So we're welcome back to the stage. Thank you very much. I've been Paul Cox. Enjoy the rest of your night. I love you.